Hello everybody and welcome back to Sin City Living. Apologies for not having posted as much lately as I usually do. Been a busy couple of weeks, schedule changes, a lot of things going on at work, but hopefully I can get myself back into the swing of things, so we'll be bringing you guys some more videos. As always, a shout out of appreciation to our patrons. All those tips of support are very appreciated. Once we get the live stream going, we're probably going to do a patron only live stream, but otherwise right now I hope you guys are enjoying the videos that we're able to put out with the entire How to Deal Dice class. So should have a couple more of those coming out in the next couple of days. And for everybody else, please keep an eye. We're still struggling getting the live stream going. I think I've got the equipment. I'm just having some issues, compatibility issues, but I'm going to get them figured out. We're going to get the live streams going, starting out with the craps tournament. Right now I only have about 7 or 8 players, but I'm hoping that a few more of you guys will email us with some interest in it. We are going to have to back the time up from Thursdays at 6 to probably 4:30. My schedule did change. I no longer have Thursdays off. But that being said, if you're curious about the Patreon live streams and stuff like that, just check the description of the video down below. And otherwise, we're going to go ahead and jump right into today's video. So for today's video, I want to discuss strategies, as we normally do. Typically, we're posting up videos just breaking strategies down. Didn't get a lot of them emailed to me lately. Please email me at sincityliving@gmail.com if you have any strategies you'd like us to go over. What I really want to talk about is why it gets more difficult to keep doing these strategies. When you really get down to it, there's really only 4 strategies. There's really only 4 strategies in craps. Everything else is just a variation of it. Now, some of the questions to ask when you're looking at your strategies are, what is your goal? What is your goal? What is your end point? Are you aiming for the rolls that are going 5 or 6 rolls and then a 7? Are you going for those rolls that go 10 or 12 rolls before a 7? Are you shooting for that 20-minute roll or that 30-minute roll? I mean, is that what your strategy is aiming for? The other thing to look at with your strategy is the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario, how much it would cost you under that worst case scenario, and then look at how many rolls it would take were that worst case scenario to hit the next time around. How many rolls would it take to win back just that money, to get back to the break-even point? Because that's a failure that a lot of strategies have. Most strategies end up getting far too complicated. But first, let's go over what are really the only 4 strategies that exist. I'm not going to go over pass line. Pass line, don't pass line. I mean, that's just basic gameplay, and some people will only play the pass line with odds. Great. I don't necessarily call that a strategy. That's more just playing the game. Playing the game, trying to kill a little bit of time more than anything else. Very difficult to win large sums of money playing just the pass line. However, you're also not going to lose large sums of money playing just the pass line unless you're doing max odds. So the first one and the most common one are place bets. Doesn't matter what the point is. You're placing the point. Or you're placing all the numbers, including the point. Oftentimes, regardless of what the point may be, could be a 10, could be a 5, could be a 6, regardless of the point, we're going to place it. So we would generally do 64 across. But some of the place bet strategies are only going to do 52 across or 54 across. But the point being, they're placing the number. Placing the number, and that is, at its core, the most common strategy. Then from there, it's just what you want to do with the strategy, which again, you have to look at what is your goal. Are you trying to win a lot of money by catching that 20-minute roll? Or are you trying to just survive, in which case you have all these convoluted hedges and regressions and stuff like that, that all they do is really slow down your loss, but they also significantly diminish your win. So again, figure out what you're targeting. So the place bet's the most common strategy. Also the most successful strategy in general if you're going to look at total amount won on a great roll. I'm not going to look at short rolls and stuff like that, but when you get this great roll, when people win the holy cow, you're coloring up a whole ton of money, 99% of the time it's place bets, and typically there's a lot of pressing involved. But place bets by themselves, at its core, the most common strategy. And then from there, you decide how you want to do it. Do you want to do just the inside? Do you want to do the outside? Do you want to do the evens? Do you want to do the odds? Do you want to do uptown? Do you want to do downtown? Do you want a same bet? Do you want to press one unit? Do you want a mid press, sister press, power press? But they're all variations of place bets. When you start doing your DC hedges or your direct lay hedges, you're still just doing a variation on the place bet. All you're doing is you're changing your win-loss conditions and your worst-case scenarios and your best-case scenarios, and how long it may last. For instance, the power press method. The power press method is great if you catch that 40-minute roll. If you catch a 20-minute roll, you probably still lost money, or maybe you broke even. On a mid-press, you're probably going to last a little bit longer because you're going to start making a little bit of money if you catch even just a 5-minute roll. Same thing with the press 1 unit. Very underrated. We discussed that in one of our other videos. And that will enable you to get more rolls while also surviving longer. So the problem with a lot of the really convoluted strategies involving place bets is they're not trying to win money, they're trying not to lose money. And therein lies the rub. When you're trying not to lose money, you win less when you catch these great rolls, and otherwise all you're doing is you're losing slower. So it's a slower circle down the drain with a less of an upside. But it's still a viable strategy. The thing is, every strategy for the most part will win on a great roll. It's just how much are you going to win. Also, every strategy will lose on a cold table for the most part. So place bets, at its core, the most common strategy. Second strategy, come bets. And with come bets, you get into things such as the 2-point Molly system, the 3-point Molly system, or people that do the continuous come bets. Now, again, you're looking at what is your target, what is your goal. If you're doing a 2 or 3-point Molly system, you're trying to reduce your at risk, but at the same time, you're reducing how much you can make. You can catch a great roll and only hit your number twice, maybe. 1 or 2 times, maybe 3 times, while everyone else is on their place bets are just hitting the other numbers over and over and over and over again. Just today we actually had it was a 4. We actually had a 4 roll 3 times in a row. 3 times in a row. If it was at the beginning of your come bet strategy, great, you already won it. But what if you're already up in a couple of numbers, so you're just sitting back watching? Now, probably not going to be hitting that 4. But come bet strategies. Now, as we've discussed before, when it comes to a great roll and a long roll, unless you're at a 10 times or higher table and you are betting max odds, generally you're going to make more money off of place bets. Place bets also give you a little bit more freedom, but come bets are a great bet. They really are. And you can make a ton of money on them. You're just not going to make as much as a power presser, even a mid presser, unless you start pressing your come bets. And then it gets pretty convoluted and slowing down the flow of the game. But again, they're great bets. They really are. So that's the second strategy. And the same thing with these. Once you get to that basic come bet strategy, then you decide 2-point Molly, 3-point Molly, continuous, or now you've got your lays behind, and you start adding in all this other convoluted stuff to try and hedge yourself one way or the other. But at its core, that's the main strategy. The third strategy is a don't strategy, and it's either a don't pass or a don't come, either one, but the dark side. The dark side is a viable strategy, and you kind of travel behind, you place your lays, maybe you just do direct lays instead of traveling through the don't come. You do direct lays, pay your juice, you get to pick your numbers that you were behind, and there you go. That right there is the third strategy. Everything coming off of that is a variation off of that. Coming behind your numbers, then placing them so you turn it into a $2 table, so theoretically you can't lose. Those strategies are the slowest circle down the drain, but I've seen 2 or 3 of those in the last couple of weeks, and none of those players ever walked with any money, or never walked ahead, I should say. But the don't strategy, if you don't make it super convoluted, just pick how you're going to play it, and pick your side and go for it. You can definitely win money. Again, like with every strategy we talk about, decide what your out point is. Do you want to win? Do you want to double your initial buy-in or triple your initial buy-in, 5 times your initial buy-in? Pick your out point, because I see people with don'ts win really well, win a ton because they're on a cold table for a little while, so they keep going. They maybe build their bets up higher, press them up a little bit higher, because they figure, hey, I won 200, now if I triple my bet, I can win 600, and they end up giving it all back. The odds will catch up to you eventually. The dice will correct themselves, and the odds will smooth out over time. But if you take that first win and go, decide how much you want to win. Don't give it back. Please decide what you're going to win and take that win. Run for the hills. Spend your money on your wife or your husband, because you always want to spend your money on your husband. Have fun with it. So that's the third strategy. And the last strategy, generally I would say is the least common, but I've actually seen this strategy getting played a lot lately, and that is the field. Just playing the field. Now, playing the field every single roll is not a strategy. Really, there is no strategy with the field other than you just chunk it in the field and you're just praying. But if you think about it, with all the rest of these, you're kind of doing the same thing. You're just hoping your number hits. But in the field, it's a one-time bet. One-time bet. Now, sometimes if you just catch the right rolls, you get a little bit lucky. You decide when you want to do your field bet. Don't do it every roll. You throw it in there, you raise up, lower your bet, whatever it may be. Sometimes you just get lucky. I saw a guy with a $500 buy-in have $27,000 in front of him. This was actually just a few days ago. However, over the next 2 days, that player, because he seemed to think that he had discovered the secret to craps in the field, gave it all back and then some, because he didn't discover the secret to craps. He got lucky, which is the whole point. That's why we play the game. We're trying to get lucky. We're trying to win money. He did not take his money and run. He took his money and gave back. So take your money and run. But those are the four strategies. That is it. Everything else is some convoluted variation of it. The Iron Cross is just a place bet with a field. It's just combining the place bets, combining place bet strategies with the field bet, with this whole I win off of every number thing. You do. You just win a little bit off of every number. If that's what you choose to do, by all means, go for it. Let me see here. Then, of course, again, your across strategies. You've got your don't come, 75 don't come, and then place everything else. You're just combining two strategies. You didn't pick a side. You're thinking that you're hedging yourself, forgetting that should the worst case scenario come up, it's 10 times harder for you to get back to even. But it can't be done, of course. I've seen it. But there you go. That's the core strategies. Those are the four strategies. Everything else is just a variation. So I hope you guys find this interesting, illuminating, enlightening, or just plain fun. We thank you guys for watching, as always, and we will catch you next time. Bye now.